G'day and welcome back everyone to another Wheel to Wheel stream. We are here at the beautiful Nordschleife 24 Hour for our final round of Season 7. Tonight we are streaming Div 4 and I believe E-League earlier. Next week we'll have the top 3 lobbies going at it. Tonight with me we have Dodgy on the visuals.
G'day fellas, glad to be here. Looking forward to a lovely night in Germany.
Absolutely. And we also will have Scooter82 joining us shortly. He's just had to restart his PlayStation, unfortunately. We aren't quite away for the start of the race as we're making sure everyone can get off the line. It looks like Palmer has gotten stuck, unfortunately, so glad we did a really quick start check there. Now we can see. And I did see earlier on Palmer said he had a mobile hotspot ready to go in case that happened, so that's good to hear.
Yep, it's to be expected lately, unfortunately, with GT Sport. Every week there seems to be a glitch in some way, shape or form, so it is unfortunate, but at least we're learning to check for it as much as possible. Yeah,
definitely. As we see everyone just having a bit of fun, getting this spin out of the way on this this warm-up practice start here. We should be underway shortly once Palmer is able to jump back in. And we are joined by Mr. Scooter82.
Supposed to begin after.
Oh, looks like we've had a couple of game crashes as well, for good measure.
Yep, we have lost it all. Okay.
It's quite unfortunate, but I'm sure the lobby will be back up shortly and we'll be able to get underway.
It is, we'll go searching for it, that's for sure. Give it a minute or two.
Definitely, yeah. So, what type of strategies are you expecting to see out of this lobby, guys?
Well, I think that what we saw in the E-League race earlier with those, the 2 to 3 laps, I mean, that's probably a meta strategy, but I guess there's certain vehicles that maybe aren't as conducive to fuel consumption and saving fuel, that perhaps stretching it out to the 3rd lap maybe might just be a bit too far. Maybe it's this two lap strategy, may be a bit more sensible for some of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think you'd be able to stretch any 4-lap stints out of it, so it's definitely there. If you do decide to do the 2-lap stints, you'll have to do a 1-lapper at the end or find a way to make a 3-lapper work. So that's 2 extra pit stops, I believe, if you decide to go for the 2-lap stints. Then the 3-lap stints, which could be quite interesting if we have some of our faster guys pitting multiple times and having to work their way through traffic that's going for them 3-lap stints. Can't see a lobby up at the moment, so I'm assuming Marchie has had a game crash as well, for good measure. But yeah, while we're waiting for this all to get started back up, we could have a quick look at our current team championship leaderboards now that we're in this final round.
No worries, they're up right now, go for it.
Yeah, so you see I mean, we don't really need to mention them a whole lot. 13R Autosports have been pretty dominant and have a fairly big lead over the rest of the field.
You can mention it all you like. Just keep mentioning away. I know ZD wants you to say it about 100 times tonight if you can.
That battle for second's definitely heating up. Not too many points between from 2nd to 4th there, between the leftovers, V-Corsa and T-Rex Racing, so this final round could definitely decide which team doesn't get to carry on their top 10 driver for the next season and so on. Of course, one of those teams has to lose out, unfortunately, so should be very interesting. We also have DAM Racing not too far behind on 15,000, Shake and Bake just 500 behind them. NZAC Autosports and Flat Out Racing fairly close on the leaderboards as well, down in 7th and 8th. Speed Demons unfortunately losing a couple of drivers and struggling a little bit, as are Mad Turtle Racing in 9th and 10th. But yeah, that battle for second, third, and fourth is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on throughout these next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Just so you know, the lobby is back up too, gents. They're just starting to fill in now.
Excellent.
Everyone filing in. Looks like we've got 14 in at the moment, so just missing a couple. But yeah, that Teams Championship is going to be definitely one to keep an eye on into Season 8 as well, as we're going for a different approach to it. Some teams are going to be able to carry on with the similar teams, but we have a draft system coming up as well, so draft system could be quite interesting to see how it pans out, which drivers go for who, whether they decide to go for friends or they want to be competitive and go for the highest drivers they can get that aren't retained by the top teams. So plenty of excitement to come through there.
Well, we've got one out on track. Not sure if the others can make it out.
We've got everyone back in the lobby, just waiting on, I believe, Viking Racer to be able to tick in. And Marchie's going to set the manual grid, and we should be away shortly.
Looks as if most of the field is deciding to start the race on the medium tyre, perhaps looking to get that slower tyre out of the way so they can then move on to send the rest of the race on the softs.
Yeah, it can also be. It can also come in handy being on that medium with the chaos that can come from a start as well. So if you're involved in a first lap incident, maybe you're not in the groove and you come off track a little bit, you get damage on lap 1, you can jump in and just run softs till the end. Or
I think if I just quickly bring that up, gentlemen, I think you'll see the gentleman on soft is Frosty, and he has pole for this race. I'm on the lobby screen at the moment.
Yeah, Frosty and Screw Loose. The two guys deciding to start on soft. Screw Loose, I believe, starting down towards the back of the grid, so maybe wanting to make a lot of use out of them softs, or just not confident starting on the mediums in that Nissan. But Frosty Top.
Frosty Top and Palmer both driving for V-Corsa, both in the Corvette, both starting on the softs. They've blocked out the front row, maybe looking to both get away from the rest of the pack and maybe perhaps work together in the open stages of the race.
Yeah, it's been a massive improvement from Season 5 to now for Palmer, I believe, cutting over 30 seconds off his qualifying time the last time we were here. And Frosty Top setting a really nice time as well. I believe was about a 15 flat, actually, an 8:15 flat, while Palmer was able to manage an 8:19.6. So quite the pace difference between those two, but if they can keep it clean, it could be a nice points haul for B Corsa to help them out with that team's championship we mentioned earlier. Looks like we've got everyone ticked in, just making... I think we're just waiting on Marchie Boy to set the grid and we should be away. Hopefully Palmer can get off the line here. It would be quite unfortunate to start on the front row of the grid and not be able to get away.
Okay, here we go. Who are we starting with, gentlemen?
I think it'd be nice to start with someone around the 5th or 6th mark, just for to get a good spread, see if anyone gets off the line fast. Obviously the top two both being Corvettes, they're going to get away to a nice gap into turn 1. Maybe we can jump on board with your 13R teammate there, Mr. Fang.
On with Fang? No worries, we can manage that.
Because I believe the Supra to his left, just ahead of him, that struggles to get off the line a little bit, so it could be quite interesting to see how he goes here. Here the revs come up, we'll see if everyone can get away. Everyone has gotten off the line. No. 13R Autos, Anzac Motorsport driver.
Stuck on the grid there, unfortunately.
So I think we might have to red flag that one. And give Viking one last chance at it.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Hopefully we don't have another game crash.
Yep, he's just sitting back there, poor old Viking.
Yep, not much he can do. Unfortunately, everyone else looks to have got away clean, and Palmer and Frosty showing the advantage that those Corvettes did have at the front. Already had about a 2-second gap. But
it's one of the most... It's to be a painful feeling to be having started at the front and to have gotten a good start, only for it to be all void and null, and to do it again.
Yeah, there we go. Looks like everyone... Oh, bugger. That might be Viking trying to reset. Just try and let Marchie know. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Viking, and I believe he also had a couple cars starting behind him that were impeded by that as well, so...
I believe Marchie was on the grid behind him, or a couple spots behind him. Looked like he suffered some damage on the start there, so he'll probably be thankful that we're running it back again, because getting damage before you even get to the first corner of an endurance race is definitely not something you want to happen.
Yeah, and Dale's firing some shots in the chat. He said, is that a glitch or is that his reaction time?
That's cold.
And he's said he's called for Vikings still being on his birthday drinks from the other day. So he spat out his beer almost when seeing that. It's like we're just waiting on Marchie. Unfortunately has to set the grid again. Quite unfortunate, but hopefully shouldn't be too long before we get underway again. It wouldn't be a wheel to a stream without some technical difficulties to go along.
Just GT Sport at its usual best.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely the rest of the grid now gets a second shot at trying to hold on to the back of Frosty, Top and Palmer, who had an amazing launch in those Corvettes. So apparently there's an issue between Palmer and Viking's internet, and it's a coin toss between which one's going to get stuck, which could be quite unfortunate, but I think maybe if it happens again, we might have to just let it run, depending on if the field is affected too much or not. Been informed Viking might be having a change of internet coming shortly as well, so hopefully that does help the issue. As we saw, Palmer got stuck on the grid first time around in the practice start, jumped out, switched internet, and now it's Viking that's gotten stuck, so...
What appears that Viking is out on track, just coming through the chicane now at the end of the GP circuit, so seeing that he's out there and not stuck in the pits could be a positive sign.
And we will see. We'll jump back on board with Fang for this one and see how we go. So we have those two V-Corsa drivers sitting on pole. We've got Gordok in the Anzac Autosports, Timmy Turtle in Mad Turtle Racing in 4th, Tooligan for the Shake and Bake team, and Fang for 13 are our top 6 that we've got to keep a close eye on as they get away here. All the lights are coming on now, the revs are coming up. And the green light is on. Everyone looks to be away, and we are racing. Fang with an amazing start, ducks up the inside of Timmy Turtle, and they're going to come side by side down into turn 1. Those two V-Corsa Corvettes already out to a bit of a lead, as the rest of the field has to go 2 by 2 through here. Tim Turtle going very deep through that left-hander. I think I saw someone falling back through the field as well. It doesn't look like it's been a spin, so everyone's keeping it nice and clean. Still too wide towards the back of the field as well, between, I believe, Ralph and Screwloose. So some quite close racing, Timmy Turtle has fallen well back after starting up in, I think, 4th it was.
He had a huge moment just coming through the corner before, drop on the rails onto the grass, just managed to save it, but he has lost a few positions.
Yeah. And as we said last time around, those V-Corsa Corvettes are very dangerous off the line, both the side and with the softs, and they are already out to a 2-second gap just through the GP circuit. So that gap is growing dangerously large already. I believe the next soft runner they have is Viking in 5th, so Viking will probably be looking to make his way past Gordok and Fang, who are running them mediums. Renegade and Screw Loose going side by side as they come out of that sweeping right-hander. Coming up to the kink now. Renegade's just got enough to keep his nose in. Screw Loose is going to have the inside through the chicane here, and he tucks in front. So Screw Loose with the early victory over Renegade there to hold on to his spot as they come on to the Nordschleife, which is quite important as Screw Loose is on them soft tyres, whereas Renegade's on the mediums. Looks like the field's starting to spread a little bit at the front end. Everyone finding their space. We've got Oz Tormentor off in the grass. He tried to go around the outside of Marchie. He's managed to hit the wall but avoid damage, luckily. That's very lucky for Oz Tormentor there.
Might just try and bring that up as quick replay if you like, fellas.
Absolutely.
Okay,
oh no, he stacked it again.
He went off
Oh,
again.
he's picked up damage that time.
We have him coming around behind Marchie. He's a bit twitchy there, and he's almost just copped Marchie's wheel. He's gone out wide to avoid Marchie and just ridden the wall. So as soon as his wheels hit that grass, he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's having a very rough time at the moment. So unfortunately, while we're on board with that replay, he ran a little wide and ended up picking up some front aero and front left damage. So it's really unfortunate for the Flat Out Racing Supra there. But he can fight it and pit in and then just run on them softs for as long as he can now. Get those mediums out.
Has had another huge moment coming up to food pads. He nearly stacked it, and the 2 DEM cars had a check up behind him. Fortunately, all 3 of those cars don't have any damage, but they'll be hoping that incident doesn't repeat itself again.
Looks like our soft runners are they're building a massive gap at the front of the field, now out to 4 seconds from Fang, so I'm not quite sure of the pace of the mediums compared to the softs here, but that gap's definitely a worrying one. But we have a nice little group forming from 3rd back to, I believe, 6th here between Fang, Gordok, Viking and Tooligan.
I think it's getting close back there with Tim the Turtle at the moment as well.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of little packs forming here. Tim Turtle looked like he was struggling, so he might be one to keep an eye on, as the 2 DAM entries are very close behind. And we've got a Corvette and a Porsche. The Corvette amazing down the straights, and that Porsche really nice and gripped up through the corners. So hopefully we don't see the DAM drivers fighting in this early stage of the race, and they work together to hold on to Timmy Turtle. Well, Gordok is right onto the rear bumper of Fang up in 3rd as well. Looks like Viking and Tooligan's dropped off a little. Not sure what's happened there, but no damage on either car, so that's good news for those guys. But Gordok could be setting up a chance at a pass here, coming through this next left-right section onto that uphill stretch towards the middle part of the lap. Bouncing off the curb on the inside is Gordok, but he's deep into that slipstream of Fang as they fly down this back section, very high speed section. Is he going to decide to make a move? No, he's lifting off. He's happy sitting behind Fang for now. He's not looking to go too wide through a very tricky section of track. Which
Probably
is
the smart play. Definitely don't want to try to force the issue, especially on the first lap of a very long race. So very limited passing opportunities. You'd think you don't want to take any unnecessary risks.
Absolutely. We also have Timmy Turtle right on the rear bumper of Screw Loose and bringing Renegade along with him. Timmy Turtle very aggressive on the rear end of Screw Loose. coming through this very high-speed corners as well. He has a peek up the inside, decides against it, didn't get late enough on the brakes there.
Oh no, Marchie Boy appears to have had incident. He's got huge damage. That car not going very fast at all.
Very unfortunate for Marchie. I know he had an absolute stinker of a quali as well. He was not happy with it. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Marchie. But he's just got to. Well, as Tim Turtle takes plenty of grass on the inside, he's just got to power through it. Get towards the end, get off of them medium tyres, and hopefully run a little cleaner on the softs. Just a quick check-in at the front of the field, the V-Corsa Corvettes, Palmer and Frosty top. Now with almost a 10-second gap back to Fang on their medium tyres, so they're really starting to build a massive gap throughout the lap here. Fang and Gordok still very close together. Vikings starting to gain some time on him as well, so maybe more confident through this section. All them softs really helping him out through the sweeping corners.
Is it just me, or have they changed positions? Was Frosty in front of Palmer?
Frosty started on pole, but Palmer had the lead coming out of the hairpin leading up to the Schumacher S's on the GP circuit.
There you go.
So, he's having a peek up the inside here.
Speak of the devil.
Come on, boys. Nice and easy. Don't want to be taking each other out on lap one.
That's okay. Adam's not watching.
It may have been an orchestrated move, but it was very dicey on the list.
Yeah, Frosty clipped a little bit of grass on that inside and a little dangerous. Maybe Frosty had some good pace and was held up behind Palmer through the Nordschleife, but was happy to sit there until he saw a nice chance open up. But now, already having built a 1.3 second gap, the slipstream to Palmer's gone.
Gordok was having a go at Fang. Holy
that's a dangerous place to try and make a move there, as you're about to come onto a massive straight, so a great chance to tuck in that slipstream and fly by without any chance of fighting. Back through the field, we've also got Timmy Turtle and Renegade double slipstreaming on his way up to the back bumper of Screw Loose. Gordog's made his way past Fang for third fairly easily there too. The Supra really nice on that top end speed. Jump back. It doesn't look like the Lexus has enough pull. Oh, the Corvette absolutely streaming past Timmy Turtle. Timmy just getting out of the way, letting it happen. Renegade now right up onto that rear bumper of Screw Loose. Apologies. Frosty in the pits already. Gordok doing the same. That's quite an interesting strategy there. Maybe deciding to get their one lap stints out of the way nice and early. Frosty doing it on the softs though, which is a little questionable, but maybe running a bit low on fuel.
Yeah, it does make you wonder that they had superior track position. The strategy doesn't really seem to be conducive with that. Perhaps they've got something in mind.
Yeah. And I know two guys will definitely be happy to see the end of this lap, and that is Oz Tormentor and Marchie Boy, who have been limping around with that damage. Tormentor making his way in now. Marchie still with that engine damage, only managing 200 on this uphill section, so he's 70 kilometers down, which is really unfortunate. And you see that strategy call by Frosty Top now. He's now back in 7th. He's just made his way past Renegade in the DAM Corvette. They're coming side by side into the hairpin now. It looks like Frosty's going to be able to take the position. But yeah, that pit stop really throwing him out in the mid-pack now. And Big Red Ralph picks up a half a second penalty. From what I can see. I can't see it from the back of the other carts, but I can see it when I jump on board with Ralph's. He's going to have to burn that somewhere along here.
I think perhaps he got that while taking evasive action to avoid his teammate. Renegade had an issue coming out of the first set of corners. Kept it together, didn't get any damage, but his teammate had to cut across the grass to avoid it.
Okay. Yeah, Frosty's looking very aggressive here on Big Red Ralph. He tried to poke his nose up the inside, coming onto this back straight. Now has a major run, pulling to the inside, up into the chicane. Ralph breaking early, and Frosty streams his way on through, now just trying to chase down Tim Turtle in that Lexus and Screw Loose in the Jurassic Park Nissan. So where has Fang ended up? Fang has ended up all the way back down in 11th after that early stop, and Gordok has jumped him in the pits too, so... maybe he saw the amount of time that those soft runners were pulling on him throughout the Nordschleife and decided that it wasn't worth running them mediums for the extra laps.
It's interesting that Gordok's starting him in the pits, but he's actually carrying more fuel. Just very slightly, but...
Yeah, it is. They were quite close coming into the pits. Actually, no, I was mistaken. Gordok made the pass on the Don Jahoa. So he was ahead before that happened.
Oh no, the race has gone from bad to worse for Marchi. He's got damage where he's even made it onto the Nordschleife. He's got to do a whole lap now with a heavily damaged car.
That's alright, Marchi, just power through it, mate. It's a rough run, but unfortunately he's locked in and he can't even decide to take a penalty for a disconnect. Ooh, Timmy Turtle sticking the nose up the inside, coming through this right-hander in fifth.
Oh no, Palmer.
Oh no,
Palmer's
some
just crashed out of
made.
lead. And Thorn out of business for car 32.
Engine damage as well.
I might try and get a replay
Vikings
on
also
that one,
off right
fellas.
behind. Hang on, there's chaos all throughout the field right now.
Oh,
Vikings come off the track. Tooligan looks to be taking that spot off him.
Viking has just managed to get out of the wall though. Only just.
My goodness. So it's all come unstuck here on lap 2. Palmer getting engine damage. Viking went well off in the grass but avoided damage. Marchie's picked up some damage. So yeah, we will jump on for that replay now if you still have it there.
No worries, we'll see what comes up. Oh, I'm on the roll. There we go. So we've got Palmer coming down. Oh yeah, he's just lifted those front wheels off the ground at the wrong time and cut the corner completely and gone straight into the fence. Yep, that would have been some pretty good damage.
Absolutely dirty with himself there. So he's managed to pick up front aero, front left suspension, and engine damage. And that 14-second lead he had is dropping rapidly to Tooligan.
The Corvette has to limp around now, though. I mean, it's painful enough crashing, but it's even worse when he crashed up and you're leading the race.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily, he was a couple minutes into the lap, and unlike Marchi, it wasn't on the GP circuit, so he doesn't have to limp around as far. And it's a point of the track where you probably could defend if he can get through this next high-speed section. If he decides to, but...
I think Tooligan and the Havilland FD1 is definitely going to catch him in the next few seconds, though.
Yeah, he's going to make up that time very quickly. Viking close behind, and Frosty almost making up that pit stop time already due to that crash from Palmer. So Frosty now on the mediums, off of them softs straight away. Palmer just pulls aside, lets Tooligan go by. Viking approaching quite quickly as well. Palmer's just off throttle, making sure the pass is nice and easy. Here comes Frosty to do the same thing. So Palmer costing himself a fair bit of time rolling off the throttle to make sure everyone gets through clean here.
That's a damn shame.
While Frosty gets himself back onto the podium, he'll be gutted to see that from his teammate.
Yeah, definitely. Now 32 seconds down on that 8:30 that he set in the opening lap already. And he's still got another probably 2.5, 3 minutes to go on this lap.
The battle's on for second now.
Yeah, Frosty really making use of these fresh mediums, maybe the more comfortable tyre for him. He gets spat out of the carousel here. He's just got 2 tyres hooking him around. And Viking on them one softs looks to be struggling a little bit. Frosty looking very confident through here. Well, has a peek up the inside, Viking not having any of it, just covering it off, taking his racing line. A little loose from Frosty behind him as well. So it looks like he is pushing quite hard. Just drop back a little bit through that section. He won't be too happy with that. Oh, Vikings run a little wide there as well. He's out on the grass. Going to have them dirty tyres, and Frosty is going to want to take advantage of that here. Dirty soft tyres versus them fresh mediums. He might have a peek up the inside, he does. Viking covers it off though. They're absolutely putting the heat on Viking here.
He just has to be so patient. He's got the superior pace advantage, but at this track,
He's off again, this Viking.
You almost have to wait for him to make a mistake like that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, Frosty couldn't capitalise on it. He does look up the inside, but Viking closes the door on him.
Oh, he's caught the grass.
And he's dipped 2 tires into the dirt. I don't know about that from Viking, unfortunately. After making a couple of bad offs, that was a bit risky to just close the door in someone's face. But looks like Palmer continues to fall through the field as well, as he's now back into 8th place.
He's got a...
Flucker just got a bump from Fang, who's managed to make his way past Gordok as well. As they come up onto Palmer through this high-speed section, Palmer with the indicator on, trying to let everyone by, but they're going to have to check up a fair bit. They all get around nice and clean, though. And that is going to be a nice little battle to keep an eye on as they come through onto the big straight here, as is Frosty and Viking, the 2 cars that are really excelling when it comes to top speed. But one thing I'm seeing here from Frosty is his car is absolutely drinking fuel. He is below half a tank already, so maybe that's the reason behind his lap 1 pit stop. Maybe not thinking he can make it around for that second lap. Here we go, in the tow, 282 kilometers an hour.
Bit of contact there as they come past.
Yeah, I think Viking tried to tuck in behind a little before Frosty was completely past, but Frosty very late on the brakes.
The battle for 8 is heading up. They almost went 3 wide there.
Yep, there we go. It looks like Gordok is actually pushing Fang along to try and make sure they stay clear of Flucker. As we see everyone jumping into the pits, Frosty, Toolig and Timmy Turtle staying out. So Timmy Turtle going for a 3-lap stint here. So that's an 8:44. Renegade and Big Red Ralph doing the same from what I can see. I don't believe they pitted last time around. I could be wrong. Oh, Big Red Ralph very deep under brakes. Almost takes out his teammate there. Very good evasive action.
Just as well. That's the #1 rule in motorsport. You can't take a teammate out.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Dale will be a little worried seeing that one. As Frosty comes out of the pits down in 6th, 25 seconds off the lead now. So he might have to look into a bit of fuel saving if he's going to try and have a chance at the win here. Palmer and Flucker have made it around. Palmer will be quite relieved to have that damage repaired. Marchie's still struggling around, unfortunately. But out in the lead of the race, we now have that Lexus of Tim Turtle.
Gotta say, that's an exceptional delivery.
The Mad Turtle Racing livery?
Indeed. I mean,
it's a good one.
Can't say I've seen those cars very often this season, but you know, I do like that colour scheme. And it's good to see it out there with the lead.
The little turtle on the front grille looking really not too pleased with anyone in front of him. Got the 2 DAM racing cars following behind as well, Renegade and Big Red Ralph. Fang looking to make a move on Ralph around the outside into the chicane here. Oh, he tried it, but unfortunately wasn't able to get it done. And with the pace advantage he has over Ralph here, he will. I feel like he'll be pretty impatient, wanting to try and get past. And Gordok is similar, right behind him.
Palmer way back down on 12th. It's hard to believe when the commanding lead is now nearly a minute behind the lead at the moment.
Yeah, that's it's pretty tough, I would assume, for him to see there, and I'm sure he's going to be chopping that lead down fairly quickly now, as the 3 leading cars, I believe, the 3 leading cars all gone on 3-lap stint. Gordok and Fang getting nice and close. Fang getting a nice run on Big Red Ralph, but patient on the throttle, so he's not going to have a chance at it through this uphill right-hander. He's going to have to wait till afterwards. Hopefully it counts for the extra speed he's going to have. Oh, Gordok nailed that too. So Fang and Gordok look very, very keen to try and get past Big Red Ralph here. The Lexus pulls alongside Gordok with a massive overspeed coming up. He's going to catch him right in the corner, so unfortunately not able to follow Fang through there.
Oh no. Ralph again, late on the brakes. Just avoids, I think, contact with Fang there.
So I think Ralph might be pushing now, seeing the amount of time he's losing to the guys that have stopped already. Being Fang and Gordok, who pitted at the end of lap 1, got their mediums out of the way, now running them softs till the end, I would assume, on some 2-lap stints. So I believe after the pit stop, Fang will become our provisional leader. Closely followed by Gordok. Gordok really trying to have a peek anywhere he gets the chance. It's a very tough corner to go side by side through this left-hander, so it's very smart for him to be lifting off, giving himself some space.
Or Palmer's had an incident coming to the hairpin. No damage, but it looks like he's lost some more time.
That's another unfortunate incident there, so... The Corvette... Ooh, Gordok's almost lost it there as well. So, back up in that battle for 4th. Gordok getting very sideways, coming up to miss, and he's just given some... a nice little nudge to Ralph coming in the braking zone here. This is costing him so much time. He was right behind Fang, and now there's a 3.5 second gap ahead of Ralph. So Gordok losing a lot of time on them softs, stuck behind a medium runner here, and he pushes deep into the corner as well, so he's pushing so hard. And unable to... Oh, he's getting very loose as well. You see he's absolutely wringing the neck of this car trying to get it up there. Fang has now caught up to Renegade as well in that Corvette. Will the Lexus have the legs to get past him on this back straight, though? Fang gets the better exit. Renegade sticking very far to the left here as well. Fang with a slight lift through the left-hand king. I don't think he's going to have enough speed to get it done before the sweeping left before Courage Corner here. Doesn't look like it. They might have to revisit this attempt coming up into the carousel. And meanwhile, Timmy Turtle has lost a bit of time in the lead, but is just out there in some fresh air having a good old time. Doesn't look like Gordok was able to make anything happen with Ralph either.
So this is his 3rd lap on those mediums he started the race on, I believe.
Yeah, so Tim, Renegade, and Big Red Ralph all running a 3-lap stint to start off the race, I believe.
I want to say Renegade's tyres are in much better condition than Tim's are.
Absolutely. Unless I have made a mistake and missed them pitting early, but I don't think I did. If Dale has some inside information, that'd be nice to confirm if you can. Frosty Top. Oh, it's getting loose, but he's joined that battle for 4th with Gordok and Big Red Ralph. These soft runners really getting held up here.
Frosty is probably easily the fastest car on track right now. He's just taking so much time out of these two ahead of him.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be pitting every lap by the looks of his fuel, so fastest car on track, and he's going to be able to make up plenty of time lost, but yeah, unfortunately for him, it's probably going to be a slower strategy here. One thing he could look into doing is fueling up just enough for the 1 lap rather than fueling all the way back up to the top, to have a lighter car to be even faster around here with them fresh stops each time. There we go, Dale confirming that the 3-lap stint from Renegade and Ralph is true, so... And Ralph has bought Fang a 5-second gap as well. So, absolutely hindering Gordok and Frosty here as they're right on his rear bumper. And I'm sure they will not be wasting any time getting past as they come onto the straight here. The fuel of Ralph is very low as well. Oh, Fang's got around the outside of Renegade coming through the sweeping right-hander. My God, that's brave.
He's pulled
That is an
off. I don't know
incredible
how.
move. Unfortunately for him, it's probably the worst time to pass a Corvette, as it is going to absolutely steam past him down this straight and then duck into the pits at the end of the lap. Gordok is pushing Ralph down the straight, actually, in that Supra, and now pulling alongside. And Frosty is going to have a massive overspeed when he catches up to these two. Fang tucked back in behind Renegade and is also looking back up the inside, but we'll stay with that battle for fourth. As Frosty's able to get past Ralph, he's looking to get alongside Gordok here. He is alongside Gordok as they come through here. Going too wide through here is insane. Gordok turns in and bounces off of Frosty, but they hold it together. Hence, Autosport team owner holding his breath. They're coming through there as we see these medium runners coming into the pits, and Fang showing how important getting that move done on Renegade was, as now they're all coming in at the same time and they can get out of them pits sooner and run them softs with that better pace that they had. Oh, Tormentor and Flucker are going side by side a similar way to what Gordok and Frosty Top just did. Oh, a little bit of contact made. And Tormentor backs out of it. Flucker staying in it, not giving anything up. Both of those guys managed to steam past Screw Loose there, who has a bit of front aero damage. Palmer now right on the rear bumper of Screw Loose as well, and I believe everyone will be ducking into the pits here. Screw Loose with some damage. Palmer running well out of fuel. Oh, Marchie boy, unfortunately I've just jumped on board with him and he has damage in every single part of his car but his rear right suspension, so I'm sure we will be hearing some pretty choice words later on from Marchie about this race in the Discord.
I think it is safe to say that he'll be happy to see the back of the GTR at the end of the season, perhaps.
Absolutely, I don't think he'll want to spend too much time on this track either. So, just having a look, Renegade is still on worn tyres.
That's intriguing. I'm not sure if you're pit, then why would you not want to change them?
Yeah, so he's topped all the way up and kept them mediums on. But I believe him doing that has helped him jump Fang in the pits, but Fang now pulling alongside, yep, on them fresh softs, full fuel load. Goes a little deep into the corner, but pulls it up nicely, and now chasing down Timmy Turtle, who I believe he was 13 seconds behind or 12 seconds behind, starting off that last lap.
It really is intriguing. I'm not really understanding that strategy, unless there was a miscommunication between him and his pit crew. Maybe he forgot to request new tyres.
Ooh, Viking! We might need a replay there, Dodgy. Viking has just come onto the Nordschleife, got on the power a little early and put it into the wall, picking up some aero damage, unfortunately.
I'll bring it up right now. Let's see how we go. And he's belting along the straight. He's coming into the S's. The chicane there he handles fine. And he's just coming into the corner over the bridge. Into the Nordschleife. Yeah, onto the bridge. Just loses it straight into the wall. So, unfortunate for that. It was a quick one, though. He didn't lose much time with it. Hopefully he hasn't got any damage out of it.
Yeah, he has, unfortunately, picked up a little bit of front aero and front left suspension, so he's going to be dealing with that car trying to drag itself to the left and a little down on top end speed, and he has the very hungry Corvette of Frosty Top chasing him down, who is incredibly almost back in our race lead after pitting every lap so far.
It's a bold strategy, but it almost looks to be working for him.
Absolutely. If that's where you're more comfortable, then it's definitely as he... Oh, he pulls way out! Oh no, that's big damage!
Wow!
So now he's picked up similar damage to what Viking has there with the front bumper, but he has front right suspension damage rather than Viking's front left. And now this is going to be a nice, interesting battle.
We've got a car that's damaged on the front left and chased by a car that's damaged on the front right.
Yep, and Fang is right on the rear bumper of Timmy Turtle as well for that fourth position.
At least fortunately for both these cars, while they are damaged, their engines are fine, so they'll be suffering, but they won't be too slower than what they usually would be.
Yeah, they do have Tooligan, who has had some pretty decent pace that previous lap. and the group of Tim Turtle and Fang, who were very close together, gaining on them. Back in the battle for 6th as well, Gordok in 7th, stuck behind Renegade as Fang was for the last half a lap last time around. Both on Renegade on them worn mediums. Oh, he runs a little wide too. Lucky not to drive straight into the door of Gordok there, but Gordok gets the move done. And small update on Marchie Boy. Sorry, he's I believe he's now just hit paused.
Frosty's gone.
Frosty making a nice move there.
But here he goes. The top 5 cars all travelling close together.
Oh, Timmy Turtle going up the inside of Tooligan. Gets it done as well.
It appears that Marchie may have forgotten to come into the pits and he's rolled around the GP circuit.
No, so what Marchie's done is I think he's just hit pause as to not kill the race lobby and is just auto driving around. I think he's thrown the towel in, unfortunately for him. But we've got a massive battle pack starting to form here. We've got Frosty and Viking. There we go. Frosty and Viking leading the way, closely followed by Timmy Turtle. Tooligan with Fang right on his rear bumper and a fast-charging Gordok about to close that gap up too. Yeah, so Marchie has he's thrown in the towel, he's dropped out of the race there. But he's just going to spectate along, unfortunately for him, after a bit of a stinker. But it happens. Gordok right on that rear bumper at Tooligan as well. Just jump back and see. So far this lap, Palmer has made up about 10 seconds on the lead. After having damaged the past 2 laps, I believe. That could be quite interesting. In 12th, Oz Tormentor has picked up some engine damage as well on his outlap, so it's really rough for him. He was up competing with Flucker for 9th and 8th earlier on, I believe, so that's an absolutely brutal blow. But yeah, Fang, this pack between Fang, now Viking, being the one that's chased down by Tim Turtle, Fang, and then Tooligan dropping off a little bit with Gordok right behind. So Viking really struggling with that damage. I feel the one upside for Frosty Top, even though he's got out to a 4-second lead over Viking, even with that damage, is that he pits every lap anyway. So it's only going to cost him another 3 or 4 seconds in the pits, repairing that damage as to his normal stop times.
Exactly. Obviously, damage would be much worse if someone might be running a longer strategy, as opposed to him hitting every lap. But as we see, it's still working for him.
Yep. Gordok's still right with Tooligan as well. Unable to make anything happen though. Ooh, Timmy Turtle's getting quite loose through this fast section, so a little torn on where to watch here. I think Gordok might have he's having a peek up the inside of Tooligan for 5th, but he's not gone for it. But I believe we'll see a few moves made as these boys come onto this start-finish straight, as they're now right up on the rear of Viking as well. Timmy Turtle streaming past, showing the effect of the front aero damage. He's gone side by side through here again. Viking getting a little loose. And here we go. So we're going to see that Supra be able to hold a little bit of pace with some slipstream assistance, and Fang is going to join up. Gordok's right on the rear bumper of Tooligan as well. So you really see right there at that point where the front arrow starts to come into it for Viking. He receives a massive bump from Fang. And then, just as a big thank you, Viking pulls back in front of Timmy Turtle and gives him the slipstream instead. Oz Tormentor has thrown in the towel as well, unfortunately. An absolutely brutal track, and this can happen sometimes. Fang playing very dangerously there with the grass. but somehow Viking has ended up holding that second position even with the front damage. We see Frosty coming in there as per expected. Fang staying out, Timmy Turtle staying out. Gordok has a run on Tim Turtle here as well. Pulling alongside, coming into turn one. Who can be the last on the brakes? Oh, Gordok gets it done nicely. Goes a little deep, but he's going to be able to recover that and get on the rear bumper of Fang and get back with that battle that we've been watching for so long already. As we see Viking, Flucker, Frosty Top and Renegade all in the pits. Frosty the first one out. We see the longest stint guys starting to run out the front now. So we've got that group of three followed by Tooligan in fourth in the FT1, Ralph in the Porsche, and then Frosty the first of the stoppers. Renegade currently running seventh with Palmer just 2 seconds behind even after that 10-minute 10 lap with engine damage he had. So that's absolutely brutal. And then 1.1 seconds behind Palmer is Viking, so Viking holding some nice position there, and then we have Screw Loose in 10th and Flarker in 11th. Of course, Marchie and Oz Tormentor dropping out. Fang having a look here, he's showing his nose to Gordok, decides against it though. And really, that's probably the last overtaking opportunity he's going to have for a little while. He's going to have to tuck in line now.
Yeah, the Nordschleife, as great of a track as it is, it's not exactly a great track for overtaking, so it really encourages patience and precision.
It's the Monaco of GT3s.
If you're going to go for an overtake, you need to be confident you can be able to pull it off.
Got a request for an update on Tooligan. He's currently sitting in fourth there, Tombo. 4 seconds off of the top three, who are very close together, with a 3-second gap back to Ralph. So he's got a little bit of breathing room there. The top five running a fair way ahead, and then Frosty, the first of the constant pit stops. Just 26.5 seconds on the lead. That could be a number to keep an eye on towards the end of the lap as well. Palmer and Renegade back in 7th and 8th, quite close together. Palmer probably looking to get past here and start making that time to the lead back up. He's made up a fair bit of time. He's made up 20 seconds on the lead after that engine damage lap that he picked up, so
It was
really
difficult to get past Renegade though, and also driving a Corvette, but for a different team. Also has brand new soft tyres.
yeah, this is probably the place to do it if he's going to have a chance early on in the Nordschleife. A very good run if he can. Oh, he's caught a bit of grass on the inside, but if he could have stayed flat through here, you can get alongside for this left-hander. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen now. Nice big lift for Palmer. I believe that's where he came unstuck previously, so very cautious through there, but it's closing right up onto that rear bumper of Renegade, and he's going to have to sit there for a while now. Back up the field. Gordok has made a mistake and got some front aero damage, and Tooligan has made his way up into the podium positions. Currently running up in third now. So we'll see if Gordok can try and stick with Tooligan or stay close. Ralph now on the rear bumper of Gordok. We'll see if Gordok decides to try and let him through somewhere or tries to hold that position thinking he has a superior pace even with the front aero damage. He's actually gaining on Tooligan still. Ooh! Unfortunately, receives a little bit of a bump there, does Tooligan. Gordok waiting up to try and let him back by. So Tooligan a little earlier on the brakes than Gordok expected, gave him a little bump and sent Tooligan into the wall. Luckily no damage, just a bit of a lost time, and Ralph able to sneak through and take 2 spots there, so Ralph a big winner out of that.
Well, looks like Fang might be into trouble. Slight damage on the front of that Lexus.
we see that that front aero and one of the front suspensions coming up fairly often. Still managed a 2.6 second gap to Tim Turtle. We'll see if he can retain that with the damage as well. Gordok having a look up the inside of Tooligan here. Tooligan giving him the indicator. Does the Supra still have the power? Tooligan's going to roll off and give him the spot there. So really good sportsmanship, seeing that Gordok might be having a bit more pace. Just let him by and run your race the best you can. Yeah, 13R looking very good at the lead of the field currently with Fang. That gap has dropped down to 1.6 seconds to the Mad Turtle Racing entry of Tim Turtle. He'll be looking to take advantage of that. I believe this is Fang's in-lap, so it won't cost him too much having an extra stop and he can stay on strategy. 7.3 seconds back, we have the first of the DAM cars, that Porsche with Big Red Ralph. Gordok not too far behind him, just 1.6 seconds in the Anzac Autosports entry. Tooligan representing Shake and Bake nicely, currently holding 5th in the FT1 that everyone's complained about for the entire season. Frosty Top with that, I believe it's going to be a 10-stop strategy at this rate. Sitting in 6th, just 20 seconds off the lead, so he's made up about 5 seconds so far in the V-Corsa Corvette. Renegade, the second of the DAM cars, the DAM Corvette in 7th place with Palmer 2 seconds behind now. Though that tyre wear may be starting to play a part of that V-Corsa Corvette and not able to hold on to the back of him. Viking is holding steady in 9th place in the Anzac Autosports Supra. Screw Loose has just lost it. Oh, in 10th place there. That's really unfortunate. Don't know if we can queue up a replay of that one there, Dodgy.
Here it comes. Let's see how we go. Okay, we've got Screw Loose coming through. He seems to have had a slow out from that corner. Where's he going? He's come around. I can't tell where he is. His back tyre has just flicked the grass and he's gone from side to side on the track, couldn't recover, and straight into the wall. So yeah, Screw Loose, got to have a lot of damage from that one.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So now Flocka, the only Speed Demons car in the field, taking 10th place off of him. And then, as I was saying, Screw Loose now down in 11th place, a minute 12 off the lead, unfortunately, and now with a bit of damage in that T-Rex Racing GTR. A very difficult car to get around this track, as we've seen. Jumping back up in the battle for 4th and 3rd, we have Gordok right on the rear bumper of Ralph, who's gotten loose coming onto the straight. And Gordok says thank you very much and has broken the slipstream, so the Porsche is not going to have a chance to come back at him down the straight either.
Definitely with a very moment at the cockpit of that 911, but he's just gotten away with it.
Yeah, wow. I believe I would need a change of underwear in my next pit stop if I was in that 911 coming in this lap.
I think I'll just get out and get a whole new race suit after that one.
Back up in the front, we should see Fang diving into the pits here, very low on fuel and has that damage to get repaired, so luckily he can stay on strategy. Tim Turtle on the mediums looking to go for a 3rd lap again, so running them 3-lap stints in the Mad Turtle racing car. Gordok with the front damage is going to be coming into the pits, Ralph following closely behind. Frosty has managed to pick up some front left damage, but has dived into the pits.
I'll see if I can catch what happened there with Tooligan.
Fortunately, that's happened right at the end of the lap, so he'll be able to quickly come in and get that damage
just
fixed.
Come in too late at the last. Oh, and he has copped Renegade as he's got Frosty Top, sorry, as he's gone past. I hope he didn't give any damage to Frosty.
He did end up giving Frosty a bit of front bumper and front suspension damage, but Frosty pitting every lap, luckily was able to just dive in, unfortunately losing another 3 or 4 seconds on a strategy that he needs to run pretty clean. So it looks like after the pit stops we have Tim Turtle currently leading the field with a massive gap, 30 seconds back to Renegade. And Palmer, who's going for a 3rd lap on the softs in the Corvette as well. That could be a one to keep an eye on if he's going to run 3 lap stints to the end now. Fuel saving in that Corvette.
Perhaps he conceded that he needed to take a different strategy to get himself back up into the race. Looks like it could be working though.
Fang's run a little deep into the hairpin, so he's the first of the guys that have stopped this lap. 36.7 second difference to the leader, so that'll be a good number to keep an eye on as we come through here. Viking looking very aggressive on the rear end of Big Red Ralph. I believe Ralph has just made his way past Viking coming out of the pits. And he's going to be able to hold that position for now at least. Ralph on them fresh soft tyres, but Viking with about 20 litres less fuel in the car. Having a quick look down through the field. Tooligan has dropped down to 9th now, unfortunately, with that big incident that he had. Gordok still has front aero damage. So maybe double-clicking the button and not repairing the damage, or something along those lines.
Viking broke very late for the chicane for the end of the GP circuit, managed to snatch that position back before they came onto the Nordschleife.
Now Frosty is right on the rear bumper of Ralph and Viking as well. So it looks like everyone's vying to get into that top 5 in some way or another. Whoa, Ralph getting very loose through there as well. And if I'm Frosty seeing that, I'm knowing that this is the time where I want to be getting by after seeing that. See, I don't think he'll try it coming up into this double apex right-hander. He takes a bit of wall with him, leaving some V-Corsa paint on the circuit for good measure. Jab of the brakes on the power nice and early. He could have a really nice run, and Ralph unfortunately not close enough to get a bit of a slipstream from Viking. Here comes that Corvette of Frosty. Oh, he pulled out and gave the DAM Porsche a little bump. Ralph now with dirty tyres, gets it done around the outside. Incredible job there from Frosty, and now looking to chase down Viking for that 5th position.
Very bravely tried that same overtake before that cost him dearly earlier in the race, but fortunately that time it works out for him.
Yep, so confident in his skills around there by the looks of it.
Oh. Big Red Ralph's a bit slippery around there.
Oh, Viking's
no.
around! Frosty's giving him a little help around, but he's picked up damage as Viking. He's got a little bit of a gap so he can rejoin the track nice and safe before he has to worry about Tooligan, but that is a long lap for him.
Just try a quick replay on that one and see how the guys fared. He's a fair way back though, Frosty, from Viking, so...
Oh, Frosty's off as well.
I don't know if he's got a tap here, although Frosty's coming up pretty quick. But no, unfortunately, I think Viking has lost it, and Frosty has just run into him after he's lost it. It was behind a barrier, so we didn't really get a good view of that, unfortunately, fellas.
That's alright. While we were on board, Frosty had another off coming through the sweeping left-hander, the double sweeping left-hander shortly after that section, and managed to only pick up front right suspension damage, so no aero, so you should still be fine with top-end speed. But, man, the mechanics better have a whole lot of spares back in the garage at this rate for every one of these teams. And what that's done is that's put Ralph back up into 5th, showing the longer strategies working out for him, and Gordok not too far behind, just 9/10, so probably looking to get in some slipstream as they come through this right-hander.
Zoo's asking if Ralph has some damage.
No.
Ralph does not have damage, no. He's also... I believe he might have underfueled to try and save some time in the pits. He's got about probably, I'd say just under 60% fuel at a guess. And he's only on his outlap as we see Gordok absolutely stream by in that Supra. So Ralph may be confident in his fuel saving skills and deciding to underfuel to try and save a bit of time. See how we're going. Tim Turtle's still racing nice and clean out the front. Palmer's taken 4 seconds out of him so far on them very worn soft tyres. Renegade dropping slightly behind Palmer on some brand new tyres, I believe they were this lap around, maybe second lap out on these tyres. And now Fang has joined Renegade in that battle for third. So Fang's showing amazing pace here throughout these stints.
Look, Fang has made leaps and bounds of improvement this season. Speaking from a 13R point of view, there's two guys in there standing out at the moment utterly, is Fang and Broken Spoke. Those guys are just going bunter this season, especially Broken Spoke as well. His driver value, I think he's coming second or third of the ladder of most increased value. So those two boys are definitely on fire.
So it's great to see. I know Palmer has improved a fair bit as well with Team V Corsa, especially since making the change from cockpit camera to either bumper or bonnet, and is still pushing out fairly nicely. But ZD, we've already covered the team championship, unfortunately, mate, so we don't have to talk about that again, and we've got some action as Fang and Renegade are closing up on the rear end of Palmer.
But perhaps it looks that Big Red Ralph has had some trouble. He's got some rear damage and he's lost a lot of time.
Oh, Fang's pulled what a move by Fang there. Wow.
Sideways and all to take that one in true 13R fashion. Who, yes, ZD are leading the championship. Sorry, had to do it.
Unfortunately, it doesn't make for any kind of good battle. The real battle in the championship is from second down at the moment. But yeah, having a look through, as Scooter said there, Ralph picking up a little bit of rear damage somehow. I don't know how he's managed that. But whenever he's gotten it, looks like Frosty managed to sneak his way past him as well. And again, we'll expect to see Frosty in at the end of this lap. Looks like Fang wasn't able to close the gap enough on Palmer to be able to get in the slipstream, but he's definitely carrying more speed down this straight as we see Tim Turtle jumping into the pits from first place. Palmer's going to join him this lap, and Fang will take our race lead, as he still has about half a tank of fuel and pitted the previous lap. He gets a little loose through that right-hander. It looked like he was going to try and go into the other pits, which is a big no-no. So Fang currently in our race lead as we start lap 7. So we are past the halfway mark. Oh, Frosty's into the wall with big damage in 6th place in the second last corner here as Ralph slips back by him.
I'll see what I can bring up there for you, lads. Just bringing it up now.
Yeah, like he was sitting there for a little while.
And he just loses it mid-corner and slides out and straight into the wall. There was no grass involved there. Unfortunately, that was just overzealous.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate there for Frosty. As we see Tim Turtle 16.5 seconds off the lead now. Back out on some mediums to run that 3-lap stint. And I would assume Palmer is going to do a similar thing, but on them softs, trying to run a 3-lap stint from here as well.
It's an interesting observation with all the different strategies in play and so many cars pitting every lap. The whole field is so mixed up every lap. It's really difficult, to say, to pick who perhaps the winner might be.
Absolutely, as we have Viking finally making it around to the pits after getting that engine damage early on. A similar thing with Screw Loose has picked up engine damage on that lap as well. I'm guessing it's fairly late in the lap because he's still on for a semi-decent time, but really struggling at the moment. I can't believe Gordok is still deciding to carry around that front aero damage, maybe until his next pit stop, which I would assume is going to be at the end of this lap, with the amount of fuel he's got remaining.
He must believe that the damage is not too severe that it would impact his strategy too much, he has to change it.
Yeah. And it looks like after the stops, Ralph has come out about a second behind Flucker, who is running his third lap on these softs, I believe, so making that distance up very quickly. Shows the nose to Flucker, a little too far behind, nothing happening there. Frosty also driving that Corvette behind him on the ragged edge, trying to make up that distance, and as we've seen plenty of times in the past, he's going to catch some, but after the start of the Nordschleife. We go Ralph deep in the slipstream, goes to the outside, Flucker defending the position, goes a little deep. Oh, and here comes Frosty from 2 seconds back to 8 tenths, 7 tenths, now down to half a second, 4 tenths. So it shows how much going for a move can impact your time to the car behind if you get it wrong.
Must be a dirty track out there. Big Red Ralph seems to be cleaning his windscreen.
I think he's just waving to everyone. Or there's a lot of bugs out there, something along those lines. But Frosty absolutely riding the rear bumper of Ralph, as we saw last time around as well.
He's really looking to force that move.
Yeah, so Ralph on the mediums, fresh mediums, and Frosty on the fresh softs. So we might see him try and make a similar move to last time. Ralph taking plenty of curve on the inside on 2 wheels in that Porsche. Frosty gets an amazing run out of that corner, Ralph losing some time, and rolls out of the throttle a little bit to let that very feisty Corvette through and chase down Flucker now for 7th place. So incredibly, after Frosty and Palmer were both well out in the lead, and then Palmer had a 10-minute 10 lap with engine damage, he is back in front of Frosty and running his strategy, so showing really good pace is Palmer and Tim Turtle.
That's unfortunate.
He's shunted.
Yep.
And Ralph takes another 2 positions for free. It seems to be a common theme going on here, where just ahead of Ralph something goes wrong, and as they are redressing the position or recovering, Ralph just strolls on by and says, "Thank you very much, fellas. I'll be going now."
It perhaps looked to be a lack of patience there. I mean, even with the superior pace, you really need to pick and decide your moves well, and that didn't really work out too well for Frosty there.
No, he has been looking pretty vicious out there at the moment. He wants this win.
Definitely. So it looks to be the closest battle we have on track. Another one to keep an eye on is Gordok and Renegade. If Gordok can get a really nice run through this right-hander, he could probably get in the slipstream of that Corvette. A little bit sluggish on the exit, unfortunately, and he's about 2 tenths out now. And with the power of that Corvette, I would expect it to run away a fair bit down this straight. The Supra no slouch in a straight line, though. Oh, Flucker's around. Engine damage, front bumper, front suspension, unfortunately in 9th position, and he is facing the wall and struggling to get that car turned around.
No worries, I'll see what I can bring up. Here we go. Oh, sorry fellas, I just missed it. I've just got him coming out of the wall. Bad luck.
So, hopefully that hasn't involved Frosty Top again. But it looks like Frosty's made his way back past Ralph again. Ralph maybe seeing how aggressively Frosty's driving and thinking, alright, you go right ahead. I'm not going to fight too hard with that one. Ralph is a ninja, absolutely zoo. He just kind of sneaks by every now and then when something goes wrong.
Obviously, Frosty's aggression really leading into the fact he's desperately trying to make up for lost time, but he's over a minute off the lead now, and with running out of time, running out of laps, it'll be difficult after to come back from here.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. But the different strategies at the front end of the field could be quite interesting towards the end, with the 2 cars currently in 4th and 5th running the 3-lap stints, and the top 3 running 2-lap stints. And we have ZD in the chat saying, who are your top 3, noting where everyone is placed at the moment. So I'll let you go ahead with that one, Scooter.
This top 3, it's undeniable that Fang with the 14-second lead, obviously he's avoided most of the trouble.
Tim Turtle's backed it into the wall as well in 4th.
Oh no. He was going to be one of my other main picks, and Because I was going to say that
Just
he'd managed
brought
to
up
stay
the
out of trouble,
replay for
but
that
it's
one
just as
too,
I was going to
guys.
say that.
And he's doing all right. He's sitting on track, but he has just gone a bit squirrely into the corner. He's copped the inside of and just stayed on the grass and just put the boot in too much on the grass. Lost the rear end.
Yeah, after that incident, I don't even want to mention anyone else now. I feel like it's so sad. It was going great. And then he popped it in the
I
wall.
mean, I don't know if I want to let you know that you've just cursed Fang or not, but he has just come out of the wall. I think it's a little late for a replay, but he's picked up front right suspension and front bumper damage. And
off
flipped
again.
the grass.
Oh,
and that's
no.
the engine too. So Scooter with the commentator's curse running in full effect right now.
That's it, buddy. Get out.
As now we have Renegade slowing right down to try and make sure he doesn't clip Fang.
Oh,
Gordog
man.
not too far behind as well. That's really unfortunate. I'm hoping this was an in-lap for Fang, as Gordog's going to stream on by as well. Renegade taking the provisional race lead. I believe he is going to be in this lap as well. Looking through the field, I think the next people who won't have to pit is going to be Tim Turtle if he decides to power through that damage. But with the way his car's behaving on the straight, I'm assuming he's going to be jumping in. So I think Palmer might actually retake the race lead here after fighting hard for 5 laps.
I was going to say, if I'm allowed to speak still, which is jury's out on that one. But I did say earlier that it was very hard to pick who was perhaps going to be at the top. All the different strategies and so many different cars pitting constantly. It seems like almost everyone's run into trouble now.
Yeah, and that can definitely throw a spanner in the works. If you're on track for a 3-lap stint and you put it into the wall, as Timmy Turtle has. So Fang is in, Turtle is jumping into the pits, and Palmer is going to retake our race lead, which is incredible. After a 10-minute 10 lap on lap 2, he has fought back to take that away. I believe with just 1 stop remaining, without any dramas for Palmer. Without any Palmer drama.
A remarkable comeback. He's, nearly a minute off the lead in the second lap?
Yeah, I think it was 58 seconds towards the end of that lap.
And this, an amusing note, because all the different pit stops that have been going on, he still holds the fastest lap even though he set it on the first lap.
Yeah, he almost recreated an identical lap time as well back on lap 5, which was actually a timed lap due to the 3-lap stint. So fastest lap being an 8:30.699, and on lap 5 he got an 8:30.824. So just 1.5 tenths off of that purple lap. We've got Frosty making his way into the pits as well. He is going to be well down on the rest of the field, I believe, now. Yeah, Palmer with a 15-second advantage over Renegade. I believe Renegade's going to be running a 2-lap stint here, so we'll see him in at the end of lap 10, I believe. End of lap 9, apologies, and then 2 laps till the end. So I think Renegade and Palmer is actually the battle for the lead, as Palmer will be in on the same time at the end of lap 9. Gordog finally repairing that front aero damage as well, after carrying it around for what seemed like forever. I believe it was about 3 laps or 4 laps that he carried that around. And now finally being kind of set free and able to run a little faster. As Tombo said, 13R boys are quiet now. I wouldn't say that. I'm sure they're happy to pipe up on the team's championship any chance they get, but Fang, I believe, only having 1 stop to go till the end. I think most of our field is just 1 stop from the end, apart from definitely Frosty, who's run very deep into that left-hander, who has been pitting every lap due to running some pretty rich fuel settings from what I can see. Screwloose might take a position off of Flocka here as well. So Flocka just coming out of the pits. We've got Screwloose. No, he's not going to be able to take the position off him, unfortunately. But he's got someone in sight now after having engine damage back on lap 6. and Flocka doing a similar thing on lap 7. We have a battle for screw loose, which is always nice. Even just to see the car ahead can be quite encouraging. If you're driving around by yourself for all 11 laps, it can be a little miserable. Jumping up through the field, it looks like our field is spread fairly nicely, so we'll go for a quick run through. We have Palmer 15 seconds clear of Renegade in second place. Renegade has a 5-second gap back to Gordock, who's finally running damage-free. Tooligan currently in 4th in that FT1. Timmy Turtle trying to run another 3 laps in, I believe, on them medium tyres in 5th. Fang now in 6th. I'd be interested to see how much time he can make up on Timmy Turtle, who's on the slower compounder tyre. Ralph 15 seconds behind Fang, almost 51 seconds off the lead now. Running the medium tyre in 7th. Frosty Top in 8th with that very fiery feisty Corvette. Viking down in 9th in that Supra after picking up a little bit more damage last lap and having engine damage the lap before. Flocka in 10th. 20 seconds behind Viking, and Screw Loose not too far behind him, looking to make his way out of 11th place. Oh, Tooligan stopped.
Something's going on there.
I believe Tooligan might be lagging out of the race, which could be very unfortunate, having raced 7.5 laps already.
Oh,
that's not
just
good to
had
see.
Palmer. Did he get some damage? It looked like he might have clipped a wall there. I just come in on the end of it.
Palmer did end up with some front aero damage.
Okay, I might just try and bring that up on a replay if I can, see if we can catch it. Oh, did he end up with front or rear? Because he's nosed it straight into the wall there.
Just front aero.
Yep. No, he did. He's lost it on that corner. The bum's come out and he's nosed it straight into the wall. So, more damage for Palmer.
That's happening. Tooligan is still stopped on the grass here. It actually looks like he has decided to pull over. Looking at his tyre tracks on the grass, you see he's just slowly pulled to the inside of the track. Possibly having a go. He's back actually, so he's not lagging out. He unfortunately probably had to go attend to something, and that's cost him a fair amount of time there, unfortunately. Probably about 2 minutes, unfortunately, there. A minute and a half, maybe.
Maybe he figured he had enough time to go get a beer and crack it open, have a bit of a skull, and now he'll come back and win the race. That
battle for 4th, as I mentioned earlier, is starting to really heat up, with Fang catching up to Tim Turtle. I believe Tim Turtle does have to stop at least once more there, Cloakade. So he's been doing 3 lap stints, and if he goes 8, 9, 10, he's still got a 1 lap sprint to the end. So I believe everyone still has to pit at least once. Now, one thing, just having a look at the guys in the lead. So Palmer has managed to get that front aero damage.
We got Bang and Tim Turtle just bashing it together at the moment.
Yep.
On track, off track.
Renegade has been chasing him, also has damage, so Gordock, the front car, without damage currently. But yeah, we'll stay with this battle here for 4th position and see if Fang can get a move done before the end of the track. Both in the Lexus as well, so it's about as even as you can get, apart from the tyres. Ooh, very close to the rear bumper there of Timmy Turtle as they come through the right-hander. Fang may be realising with the difference in pace that Timmy Turtle is on them slower tyres and being a little more cautious in following. Ooh, Fang gets on the power very early and almost spins out there, giving Tim Turtle a little bit more breathing room, and it's pretty much a single lane to the end of the Nordschleife from here on out, so I wouldn't expect to see Fang be able to make any kind of move there. Tim Turtle's getting very unsettled through that first right-hander. Coming over the hill, Fang drops a gear to make sure he's still all the way up in that power band. Lifts off, Tim Turtle takes plenty of curb and goes through this section very aggressively, Fang being a little conservative. All he has to do is keep within that slipstream range, and the move will be done nice and easily. And we see him take it 3/10 through the right-hander, loses a little bit of time through the left, coming through the mini carousel. Timmy Turtle gets spat out. Fang almost spins it on the exit. Getting a little bit of oversteer. He's sticking his nose up the inside of Timmy Turtle, and he's flipped the grass trying to give room, and Fang's taken the spot. Has he got enough of a gap to stop a counter-attack from Tim Turtle? And it looks like it.
He's just managed to escape slipstream range. So that overtake looked like it worked, just.
Now, jumping up into first, it'll be interesting to see if Palmer decides to pit here. He could pit and repair that damage and run his 3-lap stint to the end. He's deciding to stay out. There we go. Renegade with front arrow and front right also staying out. So the guy is now willing to drive through that damage to try and make it one more stop to the end. We've got Fang absolutely streaming down through these last 2 corners as well. They managed to put a 1.4 second gap on Tim Turtle down the straight there. Don't expect to see anyone in this lap really. Possibly Big Red Ralph. Tooligan will be in as he's fairly low on fuel. Viking is in a similar boat, and I believe Screw Loose will also be in this lap. Quite interestingly, throughout the field, we could see that gap from third to first starts really drop. We see Frosty in, of course. Stopping every lap is Frosty. I would like to see him underfuel the car a little bit more rather than filling up to full every time around, maybe putting about 60% in, as that's what he's burning, and running a lighter car. But if he's got a full tank, maybe he's a little more comfortable. I'm not quite sure on the situation there.
You can almost think in the situation he's in now, like winning the race perhaps might not be possible, so you think if he's going all out pace, you think you maybe want to stay out for 2 laps at the end so he could try to go for that fastest lap.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, quite interesting. I believe, again, everyone in the top 6 has to pit again, and we'll see Frosty in again as well, so everyone in the field still having to pit. Frosty could go a little longer on his tyres, but we've seen he's quite thirsty on the fuel. It looked like he's decided to double stint the tyres this time around though. So with some worn tyres only in the GP circuit, that looks to be what the situation is for him. We'll see if Gordok from third position can make up any time on the leaders with an 8.8 second gap now, and Fang running damage free also with 22.6 seconds to the lead. Another advantage for the guys that have been running these 3-lap stints is when they finally have to run a 2-lap stint, they can either fuel up and rev the car out and hold a bit more pace, or if they want to stick with their consistency, they can fuel up to the same point that will get them 2 laps and drive the same way they have been for the entire race so far.
It definitely looks that the more consistent and longer strategies appear to be working for most people.
Yeah. Gordok already making up 1.3 seconds. You see it really start to fall as he's on the straight, which is where the aero damage is going to come into effect the most for Palmer and Renegade. He clips some grass.
Nah, he's gone.
The sand trap luckily doing its job there and slowing him right down, but that is going to cost him some time, and he's going to have some dirty tyres for the next couple sections. So almost putting the commentator's curse on the Anzac Autosports Supra there.
Hey, at least I'm not the only one.
I deal the commentator's curse out like I'm Oprah. I give it out to everyone that asks for it and some that don't.
Yes, but it'd be especially worse if I deal it out to my own teammate.
So that gap now, with them dirty tyres through that section, really starting to grow between Gordok and Palmer. It was down to 7.5 seconds now, almost 11. It's at 10.8. Fang is absolutely reigning that lead.
Oh, he's off again.
Under 19 seconds. So Gordok absolutely pushing for everything in that Supra. interesting to see where everyone's starting to balance out with only one stop to go for most of the field. The guys that are stopped in the previous lap, being Tulligan and Viking, could go to the end if they decide to fuel save, but Viking looks to be revving that super out, so I'd expect maybe another stop from him. And Tulligan maybe a similar option, where he's going to have to pit on lap 10. Could actually see Tulligan closing the gap to Flaka here. Tulligan being the faster driver throughout the race, but had that 10:49 lap due to pulling over due to some unknown circumstances there. Don't talk about Fang. You mean Fang that's doing really well up into 4th, ZD? Yeah. He's not gaining at the moment. He's held that 19.7 second gap to the lead, but he pulled in about 3 seconds through the first 3 minutes of the Nordschleife. Let's see. So yeah, Tulligan back in the 9th position on some fresh tyres. He's fully fueled, whereas Flaka is running fairly low. I believe he's on some 3-lap stints, or he's underfueled fairly heavily. Is Flaka on them old tyres as well, so we could see this gap from Flaka to Tulligan really start to drop. Ralph, after being in so much action as well throughout the race, being involved with at least 1 or 2 other cars, probably on every lap so far, has found himself about 25 seconds a gap either side, and is in a bit of no man's land, which is not a terrible thing at this point in the race, where you can calm down, you don't have to worry about the other cars, you can focus on yourself.
Looks like the Renegade mode perhaps picked up some slightly more damage. It looks like both front suspension assemblies appear to have suffered damage now.
You're correct. I believe it was only front right before, so he's made a mistake.
Even with that, he still managed to close the gap to the lead.
Yeah, which is, I believe, is because Palmer is fuel saving to try and get the 3 laps out of the tank, where Renegade's on a 2-lap stint. So I believe it'll be all even ground as they come into the pits next time around. And this is essentially your race order. So Palmer currently leading from Renegade and Gordok, with Fang and Timmy Turtle in chase. Overall times, Untouchables, I have 0 clue if I'm completely honest. I don't know what to expect. I haven't had the chance to see any overall times or jump in any practice races.
I know that the winning overall race time from the race set by Pure Axel was 1 hour, 32 minutes, 22 seconds, 0.2.
Wow.
Obviously that's blisteringly quick. I'm not sure what we're going to see here, but...
So just given a mention that Ralph's windscreen is absolutely immaculate. You're correct there. He's made sure that thing is shiny and fresh for all 9 laps of the Nordschleife.
Oh, Frosty's off.
It's the secret weapon.
Oh,
no.
He kept it back on. He was on the grass for a bit, but brought it back in. So no damage.
Yes. Frosty really having to drive that car aggressively to make up for all the pit stop he's made. We can see the mistakes that it's come from.
Looks like Gordok's running some trouble too. He's lost 2 seconds and now Fang's almost about to attack it.
Yeah, you're correct there. Gordok's picked up damage as well. And with everyone pitting this lap, Fang is probably, if he doesn't get it done by the end of the straight, he's probably going to jump Gordok in the pits. With Gordok having to stay back that extra 4 seconds, but he's got the massive overspeed up the hill, pulls alongside and gets it done easy as that. The front aero damage really costing Gordok there. Oh, now that's added a bit more spice to it. ZD has offered a slab if any of us can guess the total race time within 30 seconds.
Oh, he's just come through that last chicane and given it too much gas and ended up straight in the wall. I suppose
after doing so much work to catch and pass Gordok there. Luckily for him, he's done it on probably the best place to do it, but he's going to make up the extra pit stop time, as we see Tim Turtle as well jumping in the pits. expecting to see Palmer to emerge in the lead here. Yeah, as I was saying before, Fang had his incident. ZD's offered a slab if we can guess within 30 seconds of the total race time.
Not sure what the logistics would be to be able to get that over to New Zealand, but give it a go.
Oh, PayPal or something, I'm sure there's a way. Looks like Renegade has underfueled and has now come out just 1.3 seconds behind Palmer. Palmer's decided to fuel all the way up to the top, repaired that damage.
134.30, ZD.
34.30 from Dodgy. I'm going to go with a 35.45. 135.45.
I think I'd say perhaps a 135.15.
Okay. So we're all... CD says
all within a minute and a half.
He has his ways. Yeah. Well, we got to... It's hoping these guys can hold a decent enough pace to just be a couple of minutes off a pure axle, which is no simple task. CD says he has his way in this. He has his ways in the Navy, so I'm sure he'd be able to find a way to get a slab over to.
What's he saying? Am I supposed to expect a Royal Australian Navy frigate to roll up into the Wellington harbour to drop me off some beer?
I think he'll just load it into one of those artillery barrels and let you have it.
One thing that could be interesting here, down in 9th, Flocka running very, very dangerously low on fuel, coming down the back straight. He is up on his personal best time, doing a massive lifts and coast coming through here, so I'm assuming he is very dangerously close to running out of fuel. A very early upshift into 3rd as well. Looks like he's going to be able to limp it home into the pits to fill up for his 2 laps. And there we go, he's coming with 0% fuel remaining. They're running on the smell of an oily rag as he comes through there. And it looks like Palmer's been able to grow about 1.4 seconds extra on that gap, almost out to 3 seconds now. Really absolutely wringing the neck of that Corvette and driving it like he hasn't been able to. But we've seen that once people start to do that, mistakes can happen fairly easily. So,
has he got the fuel to finish?
Absolutely, he brimmed the tank.
Yep.
Did Palmer. Renegade short fueled, put about 80% in. So I'm assuming still enough for him to confidently get around for these 2 laps, but less than what he's put in previously. Gordok now having to make up 14.3 seconds to have a chance at that win. Timmy Turtle just 2 seconds behind Gordok, so that could get nice and spicy. Running on softs for the first time in the race, I believe, is Tim Turtle after medium stint to start. Unfortunately for Fang, that crash has put him another about 13 seconds behind Gordok after making the overtake coming into that final corner, so it's really cost him. It's still on for a top 5, which is nothing to be too disappointed with. Just keeping an eye on Tim Turtle here, holding a 1.4 second gap to Gordok, so he's gaining a little bit, showing the pace of the softs that he does have. Maybe just more confident on the mediums, being able to run for those 3 lap stints that he had planned.
Looks
Now
like
down to 1.2.
The gap between 1st and 2nd slowly growing.
Yeah, Palmer showing the pace that he's had, that he showed us in the early laps as well. Incredible fight to be back towards the pointy end of the field as well after a massive crash on his part. So the only person that I'm seeing here that I'm a little worried on fuel is Tim Turtle, who is at about 52% fuel. If I had to take a guess, it's very close to the halfway marker, about halfway into the lap. So I know he's been running the 3-lap stints, but I feel like that's a dangerously low amount of fuel to have. And he's had a rough run onto this back section and lost some time to Gordon too.
Even with the Lexus, a car that is renowned for its fuel economy, I'm not sure if that's enough to get home from here.
Quite tricky for him to do. A quick look through the field. I believe the only other car... Oh, Tooligan's picked up front aero and front right damage.
Oh, Timmy's getting loose.
So Tooligan's managed to pick up some damage as well, unfortunately. But I think the only cars that might have to still stop is Viking and Screwloose, possibly Tooligan as well. And then we'll also see Frosty in each lap, as has been routine throughout the race, but still only sitting a minute 11 off the lead after pitting every single lap, so really showing the pace he had. And I think if he could have gotten some 2-lap stints in there, he really could have been challenging for the lead of the race. That gap between Tim Turtle and Gordox is fluctuating a fair bit, but it keeps coming back to around this 1.4 second marker. So he's not quite able to get in, but he's holding pace at least. Now out to 2.2, so maybe a part of the track where Tim Turtle's not very comfortable through there, and Gordok is fairly confident in his abilities to get through it pretty clean. That gap to the lead's growing as well. Palmer now out to a 4.1 second lead over Renegade and almost 16 over Gordok in third. Tim Turtle really struggling through this section of the track. That gap coming out to over 3 seconds now after being 1.4 shortly ago.
There don't really appear to be any close battles on the track at the moment. I believe the two closest cars together would be Flanker and Scooters right down to the back.
Yeah, but I think unfortunately for Screwloose, he does have to pit at the end of this lap. He's down to about a quarter of a tank.
Oh, Timmy's come off straight into the wall out of the carousel. He's just given it too much boot out of the carousel.
Damage.
Yep, he's flicked it nose in.
That's really unfortunate for Tim Turtle after running such a nice, consistent race, showing how well that strategy was working for him. And now he's going to lose that spot to Fang and probably be in a battle with Big Red Ralph to try and hold on to a 6th place.
The cleaner carousel, the little carousel may be small, but it can still punish you just as easily as the big one can.
Absolutely, and as you see Fang fly by in the same car, he's getting about 268 coming up the hill. Tim Turtle struggling to stay over 200. Shifts into 5th and is actually losing speed up the hill. So that engine damage, absolutely brutal.
So Palmer now starting the final lap. He's got nearly a 6-second lead. This is his race to lose now.
Tim Turtle really struggling down the straight. I'll be very interested to see where he comes out in terms of Big Red Ralph, and we'll see Frosty in the pits as well, just behind Ralph. Maybe not, actually. Looking at Frosty's fuel, he's got about 55% remaining. So Frosty maybe not having to stop this time around. Yeah, very similar fuel. He's got over half a tank, which I'm sure he'll be comfortable with. Keep an eye on Ralph as that gap starts to drop. Takes a little bit of grass on the entry. Comes through this left-hander. Tim Turtle cannot wait for this damage to get done. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit. He's emerging out of the pits now as Ralph is coming onto the start-finish straight. And Frosty's staying out. So there we go, this battle is going to heat up, I reckon. Timmy Turtle looks like he has decided to keep the same tyres and not fuel up and just repair the damage, which has kept him out in front of Big Red Ralph, and Ralph also has Frosty chasing him down for good measure.
So Frosty, perhaps not in contention for the greatest result, like he's probably disappointed with what's happening in this race, but at least he's got a chance of perhaps going for the fastest lap to at least have some positive closure to end this round.
Be definitely a battle to keep an eye on. I'm sure them gaps will start to close down. The Porsche Big Red Ralph having much better tyres than Tim Turtle, and on about the same amount of wear as Frosty Top. Looks like Tooligan having front suspension damage on both sides and some front aeros, decided to stay out. Viking in 9th position, running very low on fuel. He's going to have to pit one more time. Flaka could inherit 9th place here. Looks like that's going to happen with the amount of time lost in the pits. And Screw Loose is going to have to dive in the pits as well, joining Viking. So Flaka in that Speed Demon Supra has been nice and consistent. One major blemish on lap 7, where he picked up that engine damage. But it looks like he's going to take 9th place off of Viking for now. We'll see if he can hold on to that throughout the final lap. Oh, Gordok's off in the grass again.
Let's see what I can bring up.
Yep. Looks like he's just run a little wide.
Looks to be the same mistake he made a few laps earlier.
Coming down the hill. Seems to be going okay. He's just come over the rise. Geez, he's gone close to the grass there. He's just come out a bit wide coming around that left-hander, and he's hit the grass on the left, which has thrown him back across the track into the dirt. No damage. He's back on pretty quick.
Yep, that dirt really slowing you down a fair bit and helping a fair few guys out here, I think, who could have had some major damage if that was just grass and they slid across it like the ice it is. Looks like Frosty is really starting to gain on Big Red Ralph, which I'm sure he is sick of seeing that DAM Porsche at this point of the race. I swear he's passed him probably 10 times at least after pitting every lap and then making a mistake and Ralph just slipping on by and having to pass it again. But that gap now just down to 3.5 seconds. Doesn't look like Ralph's gaining on Tim Turtle though.
Frosty's 2.5 seconds up on the fastest lap at the moment.
I'd expect to see a new fastest lap set on the final lap of the race, as they don't have to duck into the pits. Remembering that fastest lap was actually set on the very first lap. Fang's in the wall. Fang is in the wall in 4th position.
Okay, let's see if I can get one out of that replay. Here we go. Can't tell where on the track he is at the moment.
Coming through the Triple Apex right-hander.
Yep. He's cutting through the right, and he's just cooked it. Oh yeah, when he's turned in the left-hander into that sector, he's just hit the ripple strip and run off the track, and it's flung him across the track. So it didn't look that drastic. Hopefully it's not too much damage.
It is major damage, unfortunately, for Fang. So he has got front and rear aero. He has front left and right suspension damage, rear left suspension damage, and the engine as well. He has a 27-second gap to try and hold off Timmy Turtle, but we could see him get swamped by that group of Tim Turtle, Ralph, and Frosty. It's really struggling down this straight, as we've seen so many times before, with cars picking up that engine damage.
He's losing time quickly. He's already down to 22 to Tim the Turtle.
Wait, looking down at Screwloose in 10th, he's just coming through Armbert now, but he's nearly out of fuel.
Screwloose is definitely about to run out of fuel. You are 100% correct there, and there it goes.
And there he goes.
Viking coming up on him very quickly. So Screwloose maybe forgetting to pit or deciding to try and stay out and run maybe fuel map 6 to see if he can manage to get his way around and get out of that last place position. Unfortunately, running the tank dry.
That's just harsh.
That's it's absolutely brutal after... unfortunately as well, the slab is not looking like it's going to be favoured to us, as there goes the 135.
No,
Palmer's off in the dirt.
off.
Only a small off there. Renegade not too far behind though.
It's not
Here
a
we
good
go,
place
the
to
gap
have
is
dirty
dropping,
tyres.
2.5, 2.2, 2 seconds. Down to 1.5. It's a big momentum section too.
After everything that's
Oh, there he goes again.
For the lead right at the end.
That would be absolutely brutal to lose that right at the end. We'll stay on board with this, maybe jump in with Renegade and see if he can close that gap through these last couple of corners.
I can see Dale out there punching the air as we speak.
Here we go, 1.4. All Palmer has to do is get a nice clean run onto the straight here. Renegade close behind. He's got a nice clean run through. Renegade's got a little better, but I don't think it's going to be enough for him to make up the distance to get into slipstream range.
Still one last sequence of corners to get through.
Yep, he's just got to hit his braking marker nicely, get a clean run onto the start-finish straight, and that will be the victory for Palmer. But he's definitely made it a lot more interesting running wide through one of the biggest momentum sections of the track. Both men running quite low on fuel as well. Renegade's tyres actually looking quite amazing compared to Palmer as well. Takes a bit of inside curb. Renegade very late on the brakes. You see that gap coming down to just 9 to 8 tenths now. But Palmer's got the exit. He's got the fuel, and he's taken the win after leading us through lap 1. Congratulations to Palmer. Renegade taking a well-deserved second. Gordon coming through the final corner now. Going to bring home a 3rd position for Anzac Autosports. Looks like Timmy Turtle has made his way past Fang. Frosty and Ralph have both picked up damage, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. But it looks like it's been enough for Fang to hold on to that spot. Now with the 16-second gap back to Frosty. Renegade also good mention there, mate. He's picked up the fastest lap of the race with an 8:25.955. So some bonus points there for Renegade. We've got Timmy Turtle making his way under the Blistein Bridge down this final section of track. I bet all these guys are going to be absolutely relieved to be done with this race. He takes a bit of dirt on the inside, why not? Coming through the right-hander, plenty of curb on the power nicely. Onto that start-finish straight. Congratulations, you have made it through the absolute war that is the Nordschleife Super Enduro. Gives us a nice spin for good measure. Bang is going to claim a 5th position after that unfortunate incident that we saw earlier. Get some beautiful swerving here going on, making sure the car still turns. Frosty is going to claim a 6th, just about 7 seconds behind Fang there in the end. Ralph 20 seconds behind Frosty. With all that damage that he picked up, I believe we might see an incident report chucked in.
But his wiper's still working.
There is Frosty and Ralph. Yeah, that's a positive. So we're going to see Ralph claiming 7th place here. Tooligan, after sitting still for almost 2 minutes on the side of the track, he's only 2.5 minutes off the lead, so that gives you some chance to wonder where he could have ended up. Probably about 4th, I reckon, without whatever situation has happened there. He's going to bring it home in 8th, though, which is still not too shabby of a result. I'm sure he'll be a little disappointed, but unfortunately he had to go do whatever he's had to go do there. And the time remaining is getting awfully close. I don't think we're going to get to see a finish out of Flaka. Tooligan here coming across the line. He has completed the race with only 20 seconds left on the clock, and Flaka being 40 seconds behind Tooligan. I don't think we're going to see him cross the line, but it will be Flaka in 9th, Viking taking 10th, and Screw Loose, unfortunately, limping around with that empty tank in 11th. It looks like he's hit pause. There's not too much he can do. It's like it's taking some grass with him on the way out. As the timer ticks down, 3, 2, 1, and that will be all she wrote right there. So a big congratulations to Palmer after making his way back through, taking the win. Renegade getting second place and a very good fastest lap at the end, and Gordok claiming a third. Great job to our podium, great job to everyone. It's a brutal race to try and fight your way through there, but yeah, glad everyone was able to get it done.
Additional satisfaction with these guys now. Not only is the race finished, but the season's done for them too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's season 7 in the books for all of these guys. Just the top 3 divisions to go next week, and we will be all wrapped up. So.
Absolutely, looking forward to that. I think all 3 of us must be racing next week. I might just give a quick shout out to our sponsors for this season. Next Level Racing, Pagnian Imports, Racers World and Future Youth Streetwear. Thanks to all those guys who have followed us through this season and made it possible for us to bring you all these streams.
Yep, and I believe we'll have a few, if not all of those guys carrying on to next season, supporting us for Season 8 as well, which is really great to hear.
Yep, definitely see what happens.
Yep. And just a big thank you to you guys. Thank you to Scooter for jumping into commentary, and Dodgy for taking the time out to do visuals for this.
No worries, it is a great way to spend the night, actually, sitting here watching these races. As most guys have commented, it's going to be better, than we reckon, than the F1 tonight. So that was a great race to sit here and watch.
Absolutely.
Hey, at least there was some overtakes in this race.
Yeah, we saw some very dicey overtakes too. I believe we saw Tim Turtle go around the outside of that sweeping right-hander that brings twice. And then we've got Frosty, who went around the outside of the cambered left-hander, binned it once, made it work the second time around, so...
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'll let you take us out there as well, Super Dragon.
Absolutely, yeah. So just again, a big thank you to you guys for joining me here in the commentary box. Congratulations to all our drivers from tonight. It's been a mega effort. Thank you to everyone for watching on the streams, and we will catch you next week for the finale of Season 7.
Absolutely. Cheers. Good night all.
Take care.